Hey everybody, it's Party Lead here with another episode of Total Breakdown. We continue our series today with a battle between the Wood Elves of the Gobbo King and the Tomb Kings of Mukip at Peak Pass. Just as a reminder, the Gobbo King is currently 1-up in this series, which means if he wins this one, he takes it all, whereas Mukip is fighting to keep things in check. We begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and as you can see, both sides have brought a fair bit of range capabilities to the field today. Let's start with the Wood Elves, who have a Glade Lord in charge up on horseback, and up front you can see we have this Branch Wraith as well, capable of providing magical support, but also of fighting in melee, alongside this front line of Dryads. And all these Dryads and the Branch Wraith have something in common, that is the magical damage output, as well as the physical resistance that can be tremendously helpful against the Tomb Kings. Back over here you can see we've got these Wild Riders as well, tucked away in the trees, while over here we have another unit of Wild Riders, these ones with shields, alongside these War Dancers with the Asurai Spear back here, working together to protect all of these Glade Guard with their Starfire shafts, pushing forward with their armor-piercing shots that can cause fire damage as well. That'll cause some extra damage, of course, against the fire damage susceptible bandage-wrapped mummies that the Tomb Kings might bring to the field, on which note they are being led by Cetra the Imperishable, who is very much wrapped in bandages and susceptible to fire damage, and he has with him a front line that consists of the Skeleton Warriors to the left, and apart from that, Skeleton Spearmen across the board, apart from these King Nehesh's Scorpion Legion, who are the Skeleton Spearmen Regiment of Renown. Right behind them you can see we've got a pair of Ushapti with Great Bow, pseudo-artillery piece range unit over here. And then on either flank we have these Nehara Horsemen, a pair each, alongside some Skeleton Archer Chariots. Again, range support, but also able to plow through the enemy and get some sweet damage into infantry especially. While up front over here you can see we've got these 3 units of Skeleton Horsemen Archers. I think Vanguard deployed slightly just to push forward and get some early damage and harassment done, and they're doing exactly that. So let's take a look at how this all breaks down. You can see both sides playing aggressively. No one wants to sit back and relax. Obviously, in tournaments, typically you can't sit back and relax. We've got the Wood Elves pushing forth over the cusp of this hill. As back here you can see we've got all of these Skeleton Horsemen Archers turning around and pushing in towards the enemy. In comes an Arrow of Kronos to kick things off, just trying to get some damage done to these skirmishing Skeleton Horsemen Archers to kick things off. Obviously, they're a pretty annoying unit to deal with. They can be fairly threatening as well, so it's a good idea to eliminate them as quickly as possible. And again, the Arrow of Kronos can be used to cause a little bit of damage from a good distance. Over here you can see some of these Skeleton Horsemen Archers begin to drop immediately, I think killing about 5 or so individuals in this unit, so off to a good start for the Wood Elves. But of course these Skeleton Horsemen Archers pull back ever so slightly, peel off to the side, maybe look for an opportunity to fire at something as the Glade Lord continues to fire at this other unit of Skeleton Horsemen Archers back there. And you can see over here these Wild Riders very quickly trying to sneak from one set of trees to another set of trees rather than take this long path, and they do seem to go unnoticed as the Tomb Kings don't really respond in any way. And instead over here you can see we've got these Skeleton Horsemen Archers pushing forward, firing away at these Dryads. Again, physically resistant, these Dryads, so they're not too concerned, but they will start taking some damage as the Glade Lord pushes in, fires away, and forces these Skeleton Horsemen Archers to pull back a little bit and maybe navigate a little bit more carefully than they otherwise might have. Otherwise, we do have all of these Glade Guards and Dryads pushing forward cautiously. We have these Dryads pulling back into safety, buying some more time, I think, hoping to pull these engagements to happen further down this way so these Wild Riders can come in from the flanks, and at the same time you can see the Glade Lord now getting close enough to attract some attention. These Skeleton Horsemen Archers push in, fire away at the Glade Lord over here, and she is taking a fair bit of damage. Her morale is down by about 50% or so, though we do have the Glade Guard now firing away at these Skeleton Horsemen Archers as well, and the Ushapti with their great bows as well now responding and firing at the Glade Lord. She has to be very careful. She can be picked off, but I think the thinking here is to sort of drive these Skeleton Horsemen Archers around, get them to focus on the Glade Lord, get these Ushapti to focus on the Glade Lord as well as the rest of the army pushes forward safely, because the Glade Lord can always be saved by Earthblood soon afterwards. So this might be the plan over here, just attract all of these shots, waste all of that ammunition, and waste all of that time as the rest of these Wood Elves push forward. And the Tomb Kings, as you can see, holding steady, not really pushing forward, seeing no need to push forward, as over here we have these Wild Riders moving in to try and eliminate, I think, these Skeleton Horsemen Archers. We have the Dryads getting very close, the Glade Lord getting some shots in. Her health is down to about 25%, or by about 25%, and you can see another Arrow of Kronos going through now, trying to get some damage done to the front line over here into King Nehesh's Scorpion Legion. Good hit over there, while back here you can see these Dryads continue to try and close the lines, or close the gap, I should say, to these Skeleton Horsemen Archers, who just push off to the side, keep firing away. The Wild Riders decide not to get involved, so they do get hit just a little bit over there, taking a touch of damage as they pull back into safety. And up front over here you can see the Ushapti with great bows now firing away, I think, towards these Glade Guard, hoping to eliminate the range support if possible, while back here you can see that Glade Lord still in still in a precarious situation, taking some risks over here, firing away at these Skeleton Horseman archers, but you can see we've got these Nekara Horsemen now pushing forward over here as well to try and eliminate, I think, the Wild Riders if they decide to get a little too adventurous. So the Glade Lord here pulling back into safety, as over here you can see we've got all of these Glade Guards firing away into the front lines, trying to cause some damage to these Skeleton Spearmen, but of course they do have their silver shields keeping them safe. Over here as well, you can see the Dryads trying to close the gaps to the front line. The King Nehesha Scorpion Legion here pushing in to intercept the Dryads as they move towards these Skeleton Spearmen. You can see over here, meanwhile, on the left flank, we actually have the Prey of Anathrema going down on these Nekara Horsemen, holding them in place, allowing the Wild Riders to charge right into them and cause a tremendous amount of damage. Beautifully done over here, making sure the Nekara Horsemen are not able to get away in any capacity, and at the same time, this other unit of Nekara Horsemen do get hit by Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. Again, beautifully done there, just causing a little bit of damage, causing some slowdown as well, hoping that the Wild Riders will be able to take both of these on and come out on top. But in response, the second unit of Nekara Horsemen, the one not pinned down by the Prey of Anathrema, do get assistance through Neru's Incantation of Protection, and in just a moment's time, you'll see we do also get, in a moment's time, as I said, it'll come in right there, you have it. We have the Juff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, again, just helping the damage output, helping the bonus versus large and armor-piercing damage as well. Again, trying to eliminate, I think, the Wild Riders here, but you can see the Wild Riders alongside some assistance from Earthblood are able to more than easily take care of this unit of Nekara Horsemen, despite the range support that's coming in as well. The Glade Lord as well, you can see being helped by Earthblood over there, trying to stay alive, while up front here you can see very interesting situation as the Skeleton Archer Chariot pushes through towards the front line over here, pushing through these Dryads, over here pushing through these Dryads, hoping to get some decent damage done. And take a look at this as the Skeleton Archer Chariot plows right through all of these Dryads. At the same time, we do get the Realm of Souls activated. We also get these Nekara Horsemen coming in from the side over here, trying to eliminate these Dryads. Over here, you can see these Skeleton Archer Chariots now pushing through, able to just push in wherever they'd like. They decide to turn around and go after these Dryads over here as well. Again, get a nice rear charge, try to eliminate the Wood Elf front line. As you can see back over here, these back lines as well in a precarious situation as these Chariots are now free to push in wherever they so choose. And over here as well, you can see we've got these Skeleton Spearmen moving through. We've got these Nekara Horsemen moving in for a nice charge into these Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts, trying to shut down all of that range support. Beautifully done over here. We have these Wild Riders trying to intercept and protect some of these Glade Guard, but unfortunately these Nekara Horsemen get a nice charge in there, dropping health down by about 25% on these Glade Guard. And at the same time, you can see these Skeleton Spearmen do get intercepted by the War Dancers of the Asteroid Spear. But take a look at this. Take a look at the situation back here. We've got some routing Glade Guard with their Starfire Shafts. We have another charge coming in over here with the Nekara Horsemen. So beautifully done, but unfortunately on the left flank, you can see we just lost one of those units of Nekara Horsemen. However, these Wild Riders as well in a terrible situation. Their health is down to 25% over here. They need to leave. They're about to rout. I think they are wavering, but oh, there it is. There's the rout. But you can see over here the Glade Lord does pop the Arrow of Kronos, now getting some support into this left flank, dropping some of these Skeleton Spearmen, trying to make sure these Dryads come out on top as the Skeleton Archer Chariots continue to fire away as well. But in comes some Dryads again, hoping to, I think, hold them in place. Cetra 2 getting involved over here, diving into the melee in the front lines on the left flank, hoping to get some damage as these Ushapti with their great bows continue to fire away. They already got these Glade Guard to give up on the fight, got them to fall back, and now hoping to finish off, I think, some of these front lines. While over here you can see we actually get Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma on these Nekara Horsemen, who did manage to get their clean charge into the Glade Guard. So beautifully done there, great back and forth. We've got the Branch Wraith going in there as well to try and intercept the incoming charge, but those horses are going to plow right through and get right into these Glade Guard. Unfortunately, though, a lot of damage being taken there as well by the Nekara Horsemen, so they might give up right away. As over here, we have the Glade Lord diving in against these Skeleton Archer Chariots. We have the Spearmen giving up as well, and now the Glade Lord having to pull back into safety. Again, another Realm of Souls being activated, just healing all of these Tomb King units. As over here, you can see the Nekara Horsemen already crumbling away. They might just die off. They might not last too much longer. While back here, well, there you have it. They're dead. Back here, you can see we get some more Ushapti summoned now from the Realm of Souls, diving into these Glade Guard, hoping to shut them down once and for all. While back over here, you can see the Wild Riders actually dive in towards this crumbling unit from Nekara Horsemen. They die before contact is even made, I think, and now we've got all these Glade Guards firing away at the Skeleton Spearmen over here, while back here as well we have these Glade Guards willing to fight once more. They are able to turn around and open shots. They're at about 50% health, so despite all those great efforts by the Tomb Kings, all these Glade Guards are now able to turn around and get some work done. You can see the Ushapti here, though, managing to finish off these Glade Guard, while up front over here you can see the Skeleton Archer Chariot does get Neru's Incantation of Protection to try and stay alive as all of these Skeleton Horsemen Archers fire away, trying to eliminate, I think, the Wild Riders. Unfortunately, the Chariots do fall apart. They crumble far too quickly. No amount of magical assistance will help fight that, and here we have these Wild Riders being hit, I think, by these Skeleton Spearmen trying to close the gap, but of course the Wild Riders just pull back into safety as these Skeleton Spearmen get Juff's Incantation of Cursed Blades Again, hoping to come out on top of these Wild Riders, but unfortunately those Wild Riders have pulled back into safety. Meanwhile, back here you can see we do have the Ushapti with Great Bow shut down by the Glade Lord. They're just pushing into melee in a terrible situation there. The Glade Lord is not doing well, but she's at least keeping those Ushapti busy, while back here you can see all of these Glade Guard are turning around and firing away at these various skeleton spearmen over here, hoping to eliminate them. You can see these guys are crumbling over here. These guys are crumbling as well, so we have all these War Dancers with their Astrite Spear pulling back into safety, just letting the crumbling do the work here. The Branch Wraith, meanwhile, popping Foe Seeker, closing the gap to King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion, and hitting them with Melkot's Mystifying Miasma as well, slowing them down and causing some serious damage, while over here you can see we've got all of these skeleton Horsemen Archers looking for an opportunity to get involved somewhere as these Dryads move in towards this other unit of Ushapti with Great Bow. If all of these units can push in and surround the Glade Lord, then the Glade Lord is going to be in a terrible situation. She's down to about 25% health, 25% morale. The Ushapti with Great Bow get Neru's Incantation of Protection to keep them alive. That physical resistance is going to make a huge difference, and you can see the Glade Lord is actually very close to giving up, while over here, Cetra the Imperishable does get hit by the Prey of Anathema, holding him in place, making sure he's not able to push in to assist against the Glade Lord. Wonderfully done there. Great awareness. That is a very threatening Cetra, obviously able to close the gap, but you can see the Glade Lord is still giving up on the fight, as over here we have these King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion giving up on the fight with all of that range support coming in from all of these directions. You'll see the Ushapti that were summoned earlier managed to push back over here and take care of this Glade Guard unit with Starfire Shafts. Now they're turning around and trying to close the gap over here before they actually completely die out. Of course, they have been summoned, so they will take damage over time. Back here, meanwhile, you can see all these Dryads willing to come back into the fight. They just need to turn around and push in somewhere as these Ushapti with their Great Bows turn around and fire away at some of these Wild Riders, hoping to eliminate this cavalry unit before it's able to do too much. Again, over here, you can see the rest of the Wood Elves, though, pushing in now towards the Ushapti with Great Bow. We've got some shots being taken into these Skeleton Horsemen Archers. They do have Neru's Incantation of Protection. That physical resistance will do something to help, but unfortunately, it won't really help against any crumbling that might start. And there you have it. They are crumbling away as we have the War Dancer with the Astrite Spears as well, moving in for a beautiful rear charge over here. The Skeleton Horsemen Archers do not stand a chance in melee, of course. They are archers after all. A few brutal charges from them did a fair bit of damage, but unfortunately now they find themselves in a precarious situation. As back here you can see the Glade Lord continues to give up on the fight. Very close to death over here. She needs to pull back into safety. She needs to find her way out. She is routing, but she's fully surrounded, and ultimately she is able to just snake her way through these Dryads over here and pull back into safety, and just shortly thereafter the Dryads start to give up on the fight, shatter one of them, and the other one routs as well, but the Glade Lord is safe. She is pulling back into safety, while back here you can see these skeleton archers, these skeleton horsemen archers rather I should say, are being fired from multiple sides here now, being chased down by the War Dancers, being chased down by the Wild Riders as well. So these skeletons unfortunately don't stand much of a chance, and you can see these War Dancers see that's the situation. They turn around immediately and begin to fire away at these Ushapti who have been pinned in place by the Prey of Anathema. In come the shots, hoping to eliminate this unit before it's able to do too much, before it's able to close the gap into, for example, these War Dancers or even perhaps the Branch Wraith as well. In comes Cetra the Imperishable, hoping to get some work done over here, and you can see these Ushapti with Great Bows firing away in response, but very soon to be shut down as these War Dancers with the Astrite Spear close the gap. They decide to pull back into safety as the Ushapti are in a terrible situation. All that range support doing so much work, and over here you can see as well Cetra just tossing one of these War Dancers back as the War Dancers and the Branch Wraith pull back towards these Ushapti with Great Bow, trying to finish them off as well as these Dryads push in from this side again, trying to get a full surround, pin them in place, prevent them from firing away, as Cetra again looking for somewhere where he can get involved. We've got these Wild Riders pushing in, we've got all of these Glade Guard pushing in, so the Wood Elves are very much coming out on top right now, but Cetra does not wish to give up. He does not wish for his army and his kingdom to perish. Of course, he's pushing in over here, getting a nice rear charge into these Dryads, beautifully done there, just poking them with his halberd and causing a fair bit of damage, but in come these Wild Riders hoping to topple Cetra just like that. And you can see over here as well, these are Ushapti with Great Bow trying to pull back into a safe distance, but unfortunately exposing themselves to all that range fire. They're not going to stick around for much longer as they are in critical binding. In comes the crumbling as well, trying to turn around and get some shots in. And take a look at this. Cetra the Imperishable over here micromanaged brilliantly as he tries to dodge all of these shots from all of those Glade Guard. Fiery shots as well. He is susceptible to fire damage, of course, wrapped in bandages as he is. Pops Neru's Incantation of Protection for that physical resistance. That plus 44 physical resistance is absolutely huge. And take a look at that. Take a look at him dancing back and forth. I mean, yes, the Ushapti with Great Bow here are falling apart, but that's, I mean, fair enough to see against War Dancers, against Wild Riders as well. But over here, just beautiful micromanagement with Cetra, dodging left and right, dancing, waiting for these shots to be fired, and then turning left, turning right, making sure as many of these shots as possible are forced to miss. He's going to slowly close the gap to all of these Glade Guard and cut them to little pieces for threatening his empire, but it is now 1 against 268. Can Cetra actually come out on top? In come some Wild Riders with shields coming in for a nice charge. Cetra decides to turn around. He just gets tossed back a little bit, and again, he is anti-large and armor piercing, so that's an ideal situation for him, but He stands up, continues his little dance, dodging all of these range shots, trying to close the gap to these Glade Guards, maybe scare them off, maybe get them to finish their ammo. As you can see, this Glade Guard unit has given up all of its ammunition. This one as well. This one's the only one that has ammo left, but in comes some more charges. These War Dancers with the Asteroid Spear dive in. Of course, Cetra turns around as well. In comes some Wild Riders to topple him back, toss him over, and he is in a terrible situation. Of course, he's very low on morale, very low on health as well, 50% on both of those, but at least it wasn't all to fiery damage. Some great back and forth. Juff's incantation of Cursed Blades comes in as well for the extra weapon damage, the extra armor piercing, but everybody disengages rather nicely, coming in for another charge over here. You can see these War Dancers rolling in, diving in, dancing in, and getting as much hurt in as possible, and Cetra, of course, just slowly needing to close the gap towards something. Still some ammunition left on these Glade Guards over here. These Wild Riders continue to cycle in and out. We've got more charges coming in from these War Dancers. Cetra again responding, trying to get some damage in. He is actually improving his morale, but now it's dropping once more. And of course, he is trying to get as much done as possible, popping curses if and when possible. His health is extremely low, just below 50%. Now in comes some rear charges from these Glade Guards. Again, just trying to get that morale to tip over, and it is tipping over. It's getting lower and lower. In comes some assistance from Earthblood as well, hoping to just stay alive as Cetra is taken care of. And you can see Cetra is in a terrible situation. He's weakly bound right now. His bandages are weakly bound, let's say. He's very close to crumbling. There comes the critical binding now, falling apart. You can see the little bandages just ripping to shreds, crumbling, disintegrating. And thus, Cetra does fall, and the Gobble King takes the series with a Pyrrhic victory. That was not without having to put up a great effort from the Gobble King, but he does manage to take that series. This final battle felt like it was going to the Tomb Kings for the longest time, but letting the Glade Guards survive and shoot for far longer than necessary helped turn the tide. And despite a great start from the Tomb Kings, a wonderful start where the chariots just plowed through the front lines, turned around, and tried to take care of all of those Dryads right at the beginning, despite all of that, the Wood Elf resilience won them the day. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep setting in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to highlight such great plays from the community. I'd also like to thank all of my patrons for supporting the channel on a month-to-month basis. It makes a huge difference in keeping us alive and running smoothly. And a massive thanks to all of you that decide to click the join button below the video and support the channel through YouTube. That does make a very big difference, and I greatly appreciate it. Big thanks as well, of course, for watching. I'll see you on the battlefield.